Oh, wait. No. Right. Just because obviously you can cut it off. At some point, I may need to run to the front door because the neighbour is coming over to give us the back door key because Ryan's lost ours.
You know what?
I need to
That's now.
point, which is,
You know what? That's the intro now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Silly Dimension. We're here. There'll be no funny intro today, no horn today, because my back's sore and I don't want to run over there. So that's now our intro. So you've lost the back. Well, you've not lost the back door key. Someone's lost the key. So you're telling us.
someone's lost the back door key. Yeah.
See him. What's he like? What is he like?
Outrageous.
It's a joke. It is a joke.
We're talking about Ryan 118, by the way, internationally famous YouTube celebrity.
The one and only. Oh my goodness. Never meet your heroes.
Seriously, he's like.
So that's now the intro. We're here to talk about the penultimate episode. It's a good word, that. It's a fucking great word, actually. The penultimate episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But see, before we get to that, as we said, this, it's going to be a sort of general pop culture-y things we find fun podcast. We'll just talk a lot of shit. Before we get on to this, I've got to ask you a question. You come across the fella on TikTok, okay. I think his name is Spice King Cam, I believe.
I don't think so.
So, tale as old as time. People on the internet eat something spicy and they're in pain and everyone laughs. Like, hi, you fucking idiot, you're screaming over the chili. There's a whole subgenre of TikTok of like these fucking people ruining the fun by eating these like super spicy hot sauces and just being like, and what, pussy? And I hate them. I hate them all. I hope they die. They're ruining the fun of people eating spicy things on the internet.
It's funny when you see somebody like that, though, actually get hit with it, and they're like, oh.
No, I want to see like an overweight, middle-aged American man fall off a chair. That's what I want to see. And because it's on TikTok as well. Because it's on TikTok as well, you know, like he thinks he's being, he thinks he's being like sexy because he's on TikTok. And that's the thing as well. There's probably like a subgenre of people that's like, oh my god, he's eating that hot sauce. He's not even doing anything. And like, just fucking grow up and scream. Just do what people on the internet eating hot sauce do. You're ruining traditions.
That's a really well, I was going to say that's a strange fetish, but we don't kink shame on the Silly Dimension podcast.
We don't.
If you're into people eating hot food and not reacting, fair play.
We do content shame, however, and I hate all you hot sauce people. Not all you hot sauce people. Yeah. I like Sean Evans. I
don't really have strong opinions towards you, but Jake does, so I guess I need to back my man.
Are you not a fan of hot ones?
I do like hot ones. Hot ones is good, yeah.
Sean Evans is simply the greatest interviewer on the planet that's not Nardwuar, because that man can just stiff that. You can just eat that shit and be like, right, cool. So you got bullied in high school. What was that like?
He's still doing an interview. Yeah.
Like, that's nuts. Because, I mean...
Like, the thing is, he does these videos, like, every week. I don't want to know the state his bowel's in. Like, it must be disgusting.
He was asked, and he, like, does not eat... His whole, like, week is, like, a bit of porridge, a glass of milk. Like, his diet, like, when he's not filming hot ones, is it's just, like, I'll have an apple, a banana, maybe some plain chicken and rice. And then he gets to the hot one set, and he's like...
It's the most basic...
Yeah, just to counteract all the badness that he's doing. But it's so nuts because as well, I can't remember who it was. But someone who took a bite of like one of the ones up the end, and he had to mentally prepare himself to take a bite. And then as soon as he took a bite, and as soon as he got hit with it, like right away, he was asking him another question. He was like, "Man, I know you're trained at this, but come on, give me a minute." So all love to Sean Evans and all love to everyone on Hot Ones because they got the memo that you're supposed to freak out when you eat hot, spicy things on the internet. Those are the rules. But anyway, my rant
also, about... Yeah. Enough about hot food. Let's Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I was going to say,
fantastic episode, man.
If you had more hot sauce content on you, I was just going to say my rant again, specifically Spice King Cam, done. But that being said, if I ever do see him out and about...
It's on site.
I'm going to pull up. I'm going to jump this man at Four Corners McDonald's.
Is he Scottish?
No, I don't know. He's not. If I see him at Four Corner McDonald's, he's getting jumped.
Fair enough. They do stop you either. But aye. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What a fucking episode.
Yeah, this episode was absolutely incredible. So, just starts off in the immediate aftermath of...
That opening sequence was unreal.
Yeah, it was amazing. And so, Walker's ran away. He's got the shield, which I didn't notice for a while because I was playing Steppy Pants on my mobile phone. If you're unfamiliar with Steppy Pants, it's a fantastic game. But we've already went off topic once. We're like 10 seconds into the episode, so we're going to leave it for now. But I was looking up every now and then, and I was seeing what was going on. But I didn't notice the blood on the shield. Like, I didn't notice that it was directly after until... Well, I knew it was, but I didn't see the visual of the blood on the shield till maybe halfway through. Yeah. And so I don't know if they did show it when he was running, but just like this takes off immediately after. As we were saying, we were wondering where this episode was going to pick up, and it picked up like not the immediate aftermath, the 10 minutes after he just killed that man at that fountain.
Your man's like ran away because there's too many cameras on him, and now that's when it picks up basically.
And he's outside a warehouse, goes into the warehouse, and Sam and Bucky show up. And he's gone a bit mad, has John. He's gone a wee bit nuts.
Yeah. He's lost it a wee bit.
Yeah, the serum is... Oh, I mean, there was later on in the episode, it might have been here, there's a flashback to when he's talking to Lamar, or with Lamar, about taking the serum. And I missed it in the last episode, but Lamar says power only makes people more of themselves. Yeah. Which is it's a brilliant quote. And then you can just see the cracks appearing in John's psyche. Then we get the first fight with new Captain America, like proper fight with the bunch of them. And what I really liked about this is Bucky was able to hold his own, obviously, because he also has the serum and a metal arm. But Sam was getting thrown around.
Sam was really having it for it, yeah.
Yeah, Sam was having to like use the wings, use the jets, use anything he could, but was still getting quite handily leathered. There was a bit where...
To be fair, there was like what, a minute and a half where he was just going against Walker himself because Bucky was like on the ground with a broken arm as it like repaired itself.
Yeah, there's a bit... Yeah,
he was actually just like lying on the ground shaking like...
Yeah, his arms like sparking and shit, and he's like trying to fucking recalibrate it, and Sam's just getting stomped about. Like, I was going to say there was a bit there where I think he like trips him up, like ties like a rope to him and like goes to fly, and then Walker just like gets his feet, like as he's like being dragged along, man, and just like gets his feet on the side of a forklift and just stops Sam in midair.
Yeah, it's mad.
It was nuts. But the fight ends with...
Fight choreography. Whoever is planning these fights, pay them more money.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah, it was amazing. But there was... The fight ends when Bucky gets his arm back, gets it all working again, and they're sort of prying the shield off him, and it literally takes like Bucky pinning him down and holding his arm back, and Sam grabbing onto the shield with the jets and the wings just fucking to finally get it out of his hand. And the only way to get it out of his hand is by breaking his elbow. Because he won't let go, it snaps back. It just snaps his arm.
He's still fighting. And I'm like, bro.
Like, you're done.
Yeah, stop.
Aye. But that first scene...
It was good, like.
Absolutely incredible. And there was one bit here which I really enjoyed. And I'm a big fan of, you know when like filmmakers do things that's like very... You know, like how Zack Snyder was like talked about how he tried to make it subtle that Superman is an allegory for Jesus in Man of Steel, except for that one bit when he's in front of the stained glass. I'm a big fan of when like filmmakers do like very overt shit, and there's a bit here because I don't like when they're like, "Oh, I tried to be subtle about my thing of how he's Jesus," because you didn't. You just didn't. But the bit here,
very obvious. After
the fight, Sam's on the ground because he's fucked. Walker's on the ground because he's fucked, and Bucky just gets up and he's just stood in the middle of a big fucking huge beam of light. And before he walks off, he's just in the middle of like a big spotlight, like God is smiling at him.
It's really good. And he gives what is it he says when he drops the shield and gives it to Sam?
Oh, I can't remember.
I can't remember what he says.
But I loved as well how, like, I mean, that stuck with me, like, just Bucky in the middle of this dark warehouse with all the light shining on him, which I suppose probably my back.
It's almost as if like this is his redemption now. He's
I'm-
protected his best friend's legacy.
Yeah. My back is very, very sore, so leaning in to do my silly things is... I'm suffering from my art, but I can't do it as often as I would like to.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, that opening scene just kind of set it up to be an
There wasn't,
absolutely
was there
class
music?
episode.
I get the feeling there wasn't any music during that first scene either.
Um,
I remember it being exceptionally quiet.
if there was, it was like very muted. It was like, it was
Yeah.
very... They wanted you to like sit with it. Because it was like,
To see
as
what
well,
was going on.
out of like all the fights we've had in here and in like all the other ones, this to me felt not grounded, but like the most real, with the exception of that time that Cap fought Bartrock on the ship on the boat. Because obviously it's not grounded because you've got one guy with like wings who can fly away and one guy who's, you know, got thrown their shield like it's nothing. But it felt like it didn't feel like these guys were comic book characters. It felt like they were three real guys having an actual fight, which
it
I
never
really
broke
liked.
that immersion.
Yeah, it never. And like I say, I think it's the most realistic fight in the MCU since Cap and Bartrock had that fight in Winter Soldier.
Probably, yeah.
So what was right after that? Was it then Walker's Hearing?
I think so. I was going to say that as well.
No, I don't think it was, because I think Walker's Hearing was towards the middle. There must have been something with the Flag Smasher thing.
Sam and Bucky went back to Sam's place.
No,
They started like fixing the boat.
But before that, we have then their like official debriefing, and because of everything that's happened, because Captain America just killed that guy, the army are now taking rank and pulling rank and taking over. And Sam pretty much just leaves his wings with his wee pal.
I like this.
Yeah.
I like this. He gave the wings to Torres, and obviously I don't think Torres is going to become Falcon now, but like it was a very nice wee nod that Torres got the wings in the comics. So here you go. Sam's giving him his wings.
But on top of that,
nice wee nod.
But on top of that as well, it obviously signified something massive which is coming.
Yeah.
So I think soon after that there was definitely some Flag Smashers exposition in between with Carly.
I can't remember what the Flag Smashers were doing at all this episode.
No, I just remember them being there at the end. So sorry for missing big important plot points. There was definitely some. But
I don't think there was anything massive. I think it was just more we're going to do something. What we're going to do? We're going to do something. It was more just build-up stuff rather than
more connective tissue rather than narrative points.
Yeah, exactly.
So we then got Sam.
This episode was very, very heavily focused on Sam and Bucky and their kind of not just their relationship, but their relationship with the Shield. It was really focusing on that.
So, did we get the Zemo closure before we got Isaiah Bradley?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, so we see the big Sokovia Memorial, and Zemo stood there. Bucky walks up to him. They have a little bit of back and forth.
Oh, that's the first scene. That's the first scene after, because Bucky walks away, and then he's going to Sokovia. That's what it is.
Yeah. Bucky
there we go, guys. We've figured it.
Yeah, he just walks all the way there. Just runs there.
Just walks all the way to Sokovia.
just power walks it. I mean, he is. Listen, we saw with the light, he's now Jesus. So he was like,
he's literally superhuman. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we saw him running after that lorry in episode 2. Just fucking.
That was actually.
It was class. So yeah, he gets there with Zemo, and I don't know. This scene was weird because to me, the dialogue of what Zemo was saying sounded like he was on Bucky's side. But the way all the lines were delivered was like he was trying to get under his skin.
Yeah.
Which was odd.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much just saying that, like, Carly's been radicalized beyond the point that you can save her. So you've only really got one choice. But then he just says some more things to like wind Bucky up. Then a gun gets pulled. It was weird. It was.
Yeah, he's all like, I don't hate you, James. I just hate what you are. And it's like, fantastic, mate.
Like, cheers. I thought we were friends, but okay, cool, whatever. That's a really good scene. But like, I think the dialogue in the first half was weird. Like to me, everything he said was really like genuine, but the way he said it was if he was like, I can wind them up.
It might have just been the edit.
I suppose. Yeah. Then Bucky just pulls a gun.
Yeah, then
Bucky pulls a gun.
Bucky's got the gun on him, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna kill you, bro. And then it's empty.
He shoots the guns empty.
Your Dora Milaje.
The Dora Milaje come and arrest him, and Zemo says that he's took the liberty to cross his name off of Bucky's book for him, which I liked. And then Io.
I never saw the point where Zemo took the book. Like,
yeah, neither did I.
When did that happen?
I don't know. Was it just did it just happen off screen? Did it just maybe they went for a nap on his private jet and he found it? No, maybe. Did he not?
I remember him asking about the book. I think, but I don't remember reading the book.
Yeah, so I was going to say that he said something at the book on the jet. So maybe like he was like, oh, you know, you could read that.
Because they brought Marvin Gaye, yeah. And he was like, it's a comprehensive and beautiful understanding of the African-American experience, James.
It's just funny because he's like, you don't like Marvin Gaye? He's like, I like Marvin Gaye, but you say you don't like Marvin Gaye. He's like, no, I like Marvin Gaye. And then he just steps in. Oh, man. See the stuff in Winter Soldier. That's one of my favourite bits about Winter Soldier is Steve's notebook because, well, one, of course it's a notebook because he's a man who was born in the 20s.
He's like 90.
Yeah, so obviously he's going to have a notebook instead of like writing it on a phone. But it's just got things like, I think it's like got Thai food, Star Wars / Trek ? Nirvana, band.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that.
It was just loads of shit.
Yeah, and I think one was a Berlin Wall, and then it's like, it's just nuts. But, see, the Dora Milaje come and they take Zemo back to Wakanda. And
wait. Here's a good question for you. Say you ran into Captain America right after he came out the ice. What are you saying to him to add to the book?
Oh, it's a very good question.
I've got my answer.
Right, go for it. I'm looking.
I'd tell him to "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy Joel, because that just tells him everything. That
just lets him know. It's like that episode of Still Game when Archie comes out and they just send Riser into his house and she fills him in and everything.
Exactly. It's just that.
I don't know. See, I've got on my desk right now. I'm looking at this Macho Man Funko Pop. So
no, you're not. You're not telling Steve Rogers to watch WWE. You're not doing that.
No, I would tell him to just discover the Macho Man. He doesn't need to watch all of wrestling. I'm thinking Macho Man, but
just Randy Savage. Okay.
Yeah, because like, listen, you can't go wrong with Randy Savage. Whether it's like genuinely incredible wrestling matches, or just watching his promos, or just like looking at photos of him. I don't think you can go wrong.
He is a very interesting man.
Oh, he's I love him. But let me think. What would I tell him to add to his list? See, I kind of want something that I know he wouldn't like because he's a 90-year-old man. You know what I mean? So I kind of want to give him something that I know that he would hate because in reality, because I'm forgetting that he's not actually like 26, he's 97.
Yeah, the thing is he's Captain America, so it's not like you could just hit him with, like, oh, by the way, there's no segregation anymore. Because in the 20s, he would have been like, yeah, come on, free my mans, because he's Steve Rogers. He's like the best man on the planet. So you couldn't annoy him with shit like that, you know what I mean? Yeah, you couldn't annoy him with like normal boomer stuff.
Yeah, so it would need to be like a film or a TV. Oh, I'd get him to watch It's Always Sunny.
I would just write Ben Shapiro.
Fair, but I'd get him to watch It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I'd be like, look at...
See just how depraved America's became.
Just go, this is the longest running live-action sitcom in television history. How does that feel? Like, what's a television right? No, you had them. You're at it, Steve. Steve. You can't play me.
Did they have televisions? No, they had like projectors and that. They didn't have TVs. TVs were like
They were the 50s, weren't they?
30s or something, I'm sure.
We might have them.
When was
The first.
When was your
I remember learning this when I did journalism the first time before I dropped out because I got real sick. The first like TV broadcast was like on the BBC in like 1912 or something, but it was like a wee tiny fucking like it was like a wee square. The first like live television broadcast was broadcast on a wee screen about this size, beamed out through London.
Fair.
So they had the power to they had the actual technology, but I don't know if TVs were widespread.
I don't think they were maybe mass produced, you know.
Because they weren't. Well, the first big TV event was Big Lizzie's coronation in the 50s. That was like the big
I think
first,
so, yeah. Late 40s, 50s, yeah.
But maybe they'll do in America because American industry didn't really pop off till after the Second World War because they were like, we didn't get bombed to fuck. We'll build all your shit for you. So
yeah.
Although that being said, if I'm adding that we're back to the thing. Would Steve know about TV by the time I got him to add shit to the list? When am I meeting him? Am I meeting him in Winter Soldier? Because he's been around for a few years now. He's surely seen a TV.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, back to that point.
Let's say you're Sam. Let's just say you're Sam and you just meet him on a run.
Right. You know what?
Instead of telling him Marvin Gaye, what you tell him?
Right, how about this? I'll go for, because I've got a bunch of things, so I'll go for categories. I'll go film, TV show, music, and then just something a bit nuts. So there's my thing that's a bit nuts, and to fucking find out who Randy Savage is. Find out about that man. TV show, Always Sunny. Film, you know what? Terminator. Well, that's you. That's what you are.
Like Terminator.
You'd fucking love Terminator. And music, like I said, something that like causes like 90 I know he wouldn't like, but I would find it really funny to just watch like this man who is like 27 be like, oh, this is far too noisy for me. Probably Nirvana actually, yeah. Probably like Bleach album Nirvana. I'll be like, listen to that shit. See what you think of that.
Fair.
So what's your?
I'd give him like Big Track or something. Just sound fried.
So you would purposefully try and break the brain of this 90-year-old war hero.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, sure, he's good and all, but if man's not hot, if he can't like understand the intricacies of music going on and man's not hot, then he doesn't deserve to be alive.
The future is now, man.
That was maybe a bit harsh. That was maybe a bit harsh for a 90-year-old war hero. But at the same time, what's he going to do? Fight me? I could easily take a 90-year-old war hero in a fight.
So is that what we were going to do? We were going to like.
It's not even a question.
We were going to go out and find for a live action in the wild video. We were going to find like 90-year-olds.
I would have thrown hands with Captain Tom. Like he would have caught those. He would have.
I'll do all that round the shabam. Anyway.
Right, we're quite off topic here.
We have. But that being said, I could have battled him. Could have battled him and all his wee pals. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. I was just saying.
Back to the window.
Where the fuck were we?
So the Dora Milaje are taking Zemo for the Sokovia, and they're like, "Yeah, bye, you're going to prison now, big man." But this is what I don't understand: why are we then taking him to? Is it the raft they take him to?
Taking him to the raft, yeah.
Why did they take him to the raft instead of just to Wakanda? And why wasn't he in the raft in the first place? This man broke the Avengers up. Like, yeah, that screams high security. Yeah,
and my question is, right, you know, the raft, we've already been shown the raft. That's where everyone got locked up in Civil War.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Why was he not already there? Because he caused everything. Like, it's his fault that everything that got them put there happened. He's the one that pulled the strings to get everyone in there in the first place.
I can understand them not wanting to put him in the same prison for all the people whose like heads he got inside of, but at the same time, the raft looks like a big place. Surely you can put the one like opposite ends, big man.
Yeah, like, yeah. Also, I feel Wakanda is probably more secure than the raft. They managed to fly under the radar.
Wakanda doesn't have a prison. I reckon Wakanda is just like an actual utopia that doesn't like have criminals, so there's no need for like prisons.
True. Yeah,
because they, give their people enough food to live on and enough money to buy things they want with, and they're nice people.
Although they were trying to get Claw back, they were after Claw, but I think they just wanted to kill him. So,
yeah.
So, but yeah, there was also, I know he's already been referred to as White Wolf a couple of times, but there was another very prominent mention of White Wolf, which
I really like it when he gets called White Wolf. I'm like,
yeah, because he's no longer the Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier was a bad boy.
Yeah,
he was a bad man.
He might still be the Winter Soldier here, but he's not the Winter Soldier up here. Can you know what I mean?
He's a changed man.
Also, when the episode when they went to Madripoor, he looked so strange in the Winter Soldier get-up, but with the short hair. I was like, that just looks weird.
Yeah. Oh, did I send you the thing? And it was like Bucky at Tony's funeral, and he's just got like jeans and a jacket on, and it's like Bucky to go to a party in Madripoor in a full suit.
I know. Well, I mean,
he wasn't Tony's pal. He wasn't Tony's pal.
Yeah. He wasn't Tony's
pal. But this is what I liked about this as well. Obviously, shortly after we saw Sam give up the wings, and another very, very prominent mention of White Wolf. I liked how this episode set us up for the fact that these characters are not who we knew them as, how we started to know them as. It's all changing. So then we get like a really heartbreaking scene where Sam goes back to visit Isaiah Bradley, and he tries to bring him the shield. I think he goes.
This. You called this. You called this before the show even started. You called what Isaiah Bradley here said. Only you thought it was going to be John that said it. And I'll be honest, it hit harder coming from Isaiah.
Oh yeah, because that's the thing.
It hit harder coming from Isaiah.
I've read a lot of comics, but I had never come across Isaiah Bradley in any of the comics that I'd read. So I didn't know. I assumed there was a Black Captain America at some point, and I know that Sam took up the mantle, but I'm pretty sure all the times that Sam's taken up the mantle, it's kind of been like a bit of a transitional thing.
Yeah.
Like part of a wider story. I didn't know there was an actual, like, canon, real first ballot Captain America that was a black man, that is Isaiah Bradley. So if I'd have known that, I probably would have seen this scene coming from someone like him, but I didn't. And I just thought it would be John that's talked about all that he's done for
helping to make the villain, yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that's done all this for the government, for them to turn on him. But we get to Isaiah's house. Sam tries to take the shield out of the bag, and he's like, "Don't give me that. I don't want it." And he's like, "Why not?" And he brings him in, and he just explains that when all of them were given the serum, America turned their back on him. He was experimented on after serving his country for however long. His wife was told that he was dead. All the letters she sent him were kept. None of them reached him. And it was it's such a heartbreaking scene. And no matter how much we talk about it, we can't do it any justice. But at the end, he says to Sam, he's like, "You're just looking for approval, chasing that white man's shield, when any self-respecting man that looks like us would never take it out. That would never take on the mantle of Captain America." And it was so horrible. Like,
it was mad, yeah.
Like I said on here in our preview, I think this could be the time to look at the evils of the military within your own country, and how you just stop looking out for people that are the ones with the boots on the ground doing the right thing. And we got it, and man,
they didn't have to go that hard.
No,
they did.
They really did. But then we go back to the boat with Sam and his sister, pretty much.
Well, actually, I wasn't even meaning you talking about like the abandoning the veterans. I was talking about you said an exact line that was said in the show. You were like, at some point the line will be, "They'll never let a black man be Captain America," and that's what Isaiah said. Like, no black man will ever be Captain America.
Yeah.
Nor should any self-respecting black man want to. And I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. I was like, in my head, I was like, Disney will never do that. There's no way. But it would be amazing. And I remember I was like, that's where the show should go. Because it's America, let's be honest.
And
if superheroes were real, there'd be a lot of backlash if there was a black Captain America. If this was all real, if we were living in this world, there's no chance that, Americans would go quietly about Sam Wilson taking up the mantle.
No chance.
Yeah.
Absolutely no chance.
But just after that, then we go back to Sam's in Louisiana, and it's just he just has this really, warm moment with his family when he's there fixing up the boat, and we find out that the person that his sister was going to sell the boat to has backed out because to repair it, it would cost more than he was willing to pay, and scrapping it for parts wouldn't even cover what he paid for it. So there's no point buying the boat. And then his sister's like working out what to do. Sam's just like, look, the people in this town are the nicest in the world. So he just starts making phone calls, and he's like, hi, it's me, Sam. Do you want to come help me fix up my family's boat? And then we just get this really heartwarming scene with it when everyone just shows up to help. And it was really nice. Yeah. It was a very stark contrast from the scene with Isaiah.
Oh yeah, it went from like the probably one of the like hardest scenes Marvel's ever shot to this like super wholesome one, and I was like,
yeah,
Jesus.
to me it reminded me of it wasn't at this bit, it was later on. So I'll get to that. But as everyone shows up, Bucky arrives with a present for Sam, shall we say, which we don't get to see. I was very upset.
Yeah.
I was very upset. He arrives with a big old fancy looking briefcase to drop something off. And then Bucky just says he'll like hang around, help them build up the boat. Starts flirting with Sam's sister.
He does start flirting with Sam's sister.
But what
I was like, oh, Bucky, you rascal.
But what I like though is like, instead of like being like, it's kind of like in the first episode when he's on that date and he's like trying to flirt with the girl, but he doesn't know what to do because he's like, I'm 104 and all I've ever known is murder. So for like 90 years of my life, I was just murdering people. So I don't really know what to say. It's weird because he's like, he's like, hi, I'm Bucky. Hello.
He's just like, hey.
There's a bit just after.
He's just flashing the only thing he's got. Like he doesn't have social skills. All he has is that smile. So he's just like, hey.
But there's a bit just after when we just see him and Sam working on the boat together, and it reminds me of when you're building John's house in Red Dead 2.
Yeah. And everybody's just helping him.
Yeah. But like even like the happy music in the background, except this was less country and more funk. Although I've realised we've actually missed out something very important. We missed out a scene that was very important. And I have a question for you.
Did we?
We did.
Fucking Walker's hearing.
That too. Fuck, we missed that too. We missed something else. We'll go to Walker's hearing first because that had a very important ending. So Walker's in his hearing.
Like you know what I'll give them. Disney, for all that they've done, they have made Walker a very sympathetic character. I might hate him, but I completely understand each and every one of his actions. Like, sure, he maybe shouldn't have killed that guy, but he just watched his best friend be murdered. I can understand. He's probably the most sympathetic villain since Killmonger. And he's not even the villain yet. That's the thing.
And as we said, every scene that Walker is on his own, you can't help but root for him. And in this scene, when all the congressmen are like, there's a bit in it where he just finally snaps and he says, I've done everything for America and this is how I get treated. Which is, another thing that I was like, they're definitely going to go into. And it's just how the veterans in America, as soon as they're back in America.
He said as well, he was like, you made me in everything I am. And I was like, that's fantastic. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people who, like, genuinely they get that. They get made to be this person in the military, and then they come back and they get no support to try and get back into civilian life.
Yeah,
and it's terrible.
Yeah. So after his hearing, and he's told that he is stripped of all of his titles, he's sitting down with his wife, and there was a wonderful appearance, shall we say. I was very happy with it. I was saying just after it, he sat down in it, like after he walks out into the hall with his wife to calm him down. And then up walks Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, better known as Madam Hydra.
Your gal.
There's also a bit which I really enjoyed in this. So, are you familiar with the? Baseball? There's like a thing in baseball that apparently you can always work out the ethnicity of a player by what a commentator calls them, right? Which is like, and it's a thing, because I heard about it and I was like, is that real? And then I watched the baseball game one time, and it is true. And Cuban players or Latino players, the commentators always refer to them as a real firecracker, right? It's just what they say. I don't know why. Okay. And as she's talking about his wife or his missus, who is Latina, she's like, man, you made it in the army. You got a wonderful firecracker over here. And I was, that's some casual ingrained in American racism. I like that little touch, if it was a little touch for that reason. But she just lets him know that, you know, she's interested in helping him out. And as I said, Valentina is known in the comics as Madam Hydra. And I knew the name, and I was like, right, I know that name. Why did I know that name? Looked her up. And it was just
the name rang a bell, but it didn't click on me immediately.
Yeah, so I went and I looked it up, and she's known as Madam Hydra. So that was, I very much enjoyed that. But the important scene that I was talking about that we missed. So I have a question for you. Do you watch with subtitles?
Yes.
So you also had the big...
Although Disney Plus subtitles are weird. Sometimes they just don't work.
Well, you also had the big plot point. You also had the big plot point spoiled on you when Sharon was on the phone, didn't you?
No.
Oh, so Sharon's on the phone.
Did it tell you who the power broker was?
No.
Did it tell you who the power broker was?
No. So Sharon's on the phone to someone. Sharon's on the phone to someone. She's like, look, I've got a job for you. You need to help out. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, and it's Batroc. Yeah.
Says in the bottom, it just says Batroc speaking in French. I was like, oh, cool, thanks. Sound.
Brilliant.
Lovely.
I mean, at least you know he's coming back now.
Yeah, but that would have been so good if we got that scene with him at the end.
Also, she was like, oh, if it wasn't for me, you'd be rotting in an Algerian prison. That makes me think, did she get him out after The Winter Soldier, or did she get him out after, like, episode 1?
I don't know.
That's what I want to know.
I feel like it's got to be after episode 1, because she's very handily settled into this life of crime after, you know, being one of the few people who stood up against Hydra and the Winter Soldier.
True, yeah.
But yeah, so we got this big plot point that Sharon is actually a bit evil. Just totally, you know, I would have liked the mystery. Could have just been like person on the phone, or it doesn't even need to have subtitles for that. It could just be like inaudible dialogue.
They're going to make her the power broker. I know it. I know they're going to make her the power broker, and I hate it. But I just know that's what's going to happen. You know?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. That's a bit of a pain in the arse, actually.
Well, they can't. I guess there need to be one thing in the show that's a bit of an L. Like it can't be all good, can it?
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like how they just on the subtitles just dropped that big old spoiler on us. Because I would have freaked out if I had.
Spoiler?
Well, I mean, we would have put 2 and 2 together by the end of the episode when we see him next. But well. Another scene I don't know when I should probably start taking notes of the order that scenes happen. But fuck it, we're just hanging out. Because WandaVision was a lot more straightforward for us. WandaVision was a lot more.
Yeah, they were a bit shorter as well.
Yeah, and as well, like, you know, the first 7 episodes. I mean, the first 7 episodes of WandaVision followed a sitcom format, so we could just go like, well, surely that had to happen after this, so we could work it out.
It was easy enough to keep track. Yeah.
There was a heartbreaking scene with Walker and Lamar's parents then, shortly after he spoke to Madam Hydra. Although, his mum hands him a photo that they took when they got back from their first tour. He just reaches out and grabs it with his broken arm.
Well, I mean, he's Superman, you know? He's super strong, man. That arm's already like half healed.
I suppose. But yeah, he just reaches out with his arm in the cast and he's like, oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
But there's more just exposition and like just you see how close that Walker and Lamar actually were. And you can just see his heart break a wee bit more and you can see him sort of, you know, in it, you can tell that he's thinking about the interaction that he had with Man of Hydra more and more.
But and then he lies to Lamar's parents, which I don't like. He's like, "Yeah, I killed the guy that got him. Your son can rest easy knowing that whoever got him is put down." But like, no, why lie to the parents? That's when he starts losing his like the kind of shine that Disney's put on him at this point. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, I think to me that spoke to me as if his plan is now to phone up Valentina and go, right, so I would like to kill every single one of the Flag Smashers with my bare hands. Can you help me with that? So I know I get them.
Oh, that's probably how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Also, I like that since like they've got Lady Valentina there. It's looking more and more likely that they're going to do like a whole Dark Avengers thing, which I would love.
Yeah.
I would adore that. Fantastic. But then I don't know how they could bring John back into it unless he just isn't Captain America and he's like someone else that wears a mask. Because he's still like obviously super strong.
Yeah, he's a super soldier, so you can just like give him a new identity. Like, I mean, as we'll speak about towards the end, it looks now. Sam is no longer Falcon. Bucky is no longer Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
You can just change John up and make him, I don't know, just give him another name and have him be all dark and evil.
Yeah. Just need to wait and see.
So back in Louisiana, then we get like this really, really heartwarming scene where Bucky's sleeping on the couch and Sam's nephews are like play fighting with the shield and they're like blocking punches and like punching into the shield and stuff. And then they wake up and they see that he's woke up, like run away as if they've done nothing. And at that point, that's when Bucky realizes that he finally sees Sam's point of view, and he finally like realizes that he's just he understands it now. He's just been a bit of a dick for no reason, pretty much. And they have this really heartwarming chat about. It's that scene we keep seeing them throwing the shield into the trees and it rebounding. And they're just practicing catching it, and they have this really, really amazing discussion about legacy, Steve's legacy, their legacy, what they have done.
We get like a big training montage with Sam first, didn't we?
No, that's after.
Oh,
because they've been throwing it. Yeah, because I remember I found it a bit weird as well because they're throwing it at the trees and stuff, catching it, and then Bucky, pretty much towards the end, gives him his blessing to go on and be Captain America now, or whatever he wants to do with the shield. That's his decision because Steve left him with the shield and he didn't leave Bucky with the shield. But they have this really, beautiful conversation about legacy, and then Bucky leaves, and that's when we start seeing Sam's training montage, which I found weird because he was catching the shield no bother, although he was getting it.
It's so they were training him, and then he was just doing like the exact same shit John was doing with the shield, and I was like, you can't train to be a super human, like that doesn't happen, big man.
See,
but
because obviously when he was there with Bucky, they were just sort of like not gently frisbeeing it, but like thingying it and then catching it, and then next we cut to him, and then that's what I found it weird. But then then I went back and I was like, was he throwing it? And then no, when he's doing it to Bucky, he's just like it's almost like he's playing a bit of frisbee in the park, to as much as you can with a shield made of vibranium. But then when you go to that next bit, his training montage, he's like proper like running into it, fucking throwing it, and then nearly decapitating himself over and over again. My favourite part
it keeps going like behind him and hitting his house. I'm like, how is this not damaging the house? Like,
especially in America,
shield is made of metal.
Like especially as well in America when all houses are made out of wood.
Exactly, like that house is entirely wood. There's no stone in that house at all. That shield is cracking every piece of wood it's hitting.
Oh yeah, 100%. But one thing that I really liked in this scene is the very like close-up shot of a man who's very clearly not Anthony Mackie landing a backflip. She could have just got it from the side. A man who's it's like right at the end it's right at the end when he like catches it. You could have just shot that from the side and then it cuts to like Anthony Mackie grabbing the shield, but the guy just looks up and looks in the camera and you're like, you're not Anthony Mackie.
I never caught that actually. I'm going to watch that after we're finished recording.
Because it's like, to me, it's a bit like, because obviously you can get away with, especially in the first few movies, Bucky's like stunt double with a mask, Cap stunt double. I mean, even Falcon to an extent with the goggles. But this was very clearly a different human being. And it was also what I liked in his training montage when he's training to be Captain America. When he runs past his nephews, he runs on the left, and like just starts running past them, goes around the left, which I found really wholesome.
Never caught that actually. That's
Yeah.
That could very well not even be intentional, but I like to think it was.
Yeah, it's probably, but no, because I think they put like because as he's like running past him, he like taps him on the shoulder to let him know like where he is. And obviously, when we first see Sam in Winter Soldier, every time Steve runs by him, he makes sure he lets him know that he's there. So I think it's like one of those wee like things that we sort of. I mean, it might not be, but I like to think it is for a nice little bit of headcanon. But then
there's probably even more like callbacks and stuff to the First Avenger and Winter Soldier in that training montage we just haven't caught.
Yeah, probably. Probably just missed them because obviously, anytime I think of that film, I just think about just On Your Left and how good that scene is. But then we go to a park and Carly's there with someone, and Bartrock walks over with a big old evil briefcase, and we find out that now Carly is now. It's weird because Carly's went from being like very sympathetic to like now just outright bad guy, with no real reason to do so. Like, I know that Mama Donia died, but she was dying. Like, Carly had to be prepared for the eventuality Donia was very ill, so she had to be prepared for the eventuality that she would die.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's more just that, like, the whole thing with Sam and Bucky, and then Walker showing up and and then Walker just killing, like, decapitating someone in front of her. It's almost as if, like, now she'll feel like, okay, it's genuinely either us or them.
I suppose, like, actually, yeah.
I can understand that viewpoint.
But
at the same time, she's not the villain to me. To me, this TV doesn't have a villain.
Yeah, that's what I've, like, one of the things I've really enjoyed with this is, as you said, there's not been a clear villain. It's just been,
It's been shades of grey the entire time.
Yeah. But, I mean, it probably is to do with that, she's now saying it's us or them, but we see no, like, internal struggle with it, which is my thing. We just see her, she's just like, okay, I've got to kill people now, which I find a bit weird, because she has just went from being like, let's get medicine for everyone to make sure that everyone is safe. Oh, wait, now I've got to just kill people for the cause.
Yeah, I suppose.
And we find out that
maybe it's just so they can have a scene. Maybe it's just so they can have a scene where Sam's like, "Come on, you need to come back. This wasn't what you were like," and all that.
Suppose. Although, actually, we'll talk about this after. But I'll bring it up at the end, so I'll forget to say anything now.
Just drop something.
Oh, what you like? But so Bartrock walks over to them, which they are. So we find out they're in America. They're in New York. So American immigration. That shit is tight.
How did you get through TSA?
That's what I'm going to say. American immigration is tight on land borders. How she got from Latvia?
Yeah.
Like, she's there. Bartrock is also, like, surely on a most wanted list. Everyone knows who he is. And they're just walking around New York City like he ain't shit. Suppose if you are going to disappear into a crowd.
I mean, I suppose, but still, it's a bit weird.
Yeah,
and it's not like Carly's. It's not like she looks very generic. She's quite an obvious person.
She's a very distinct. The actress is very distinctive looking. Like, you could spot her in a crowd.
You're going to notice her.
Yeah,
like, if you walk past her, you are going to notice her. If her face is being plastered everywhere as this terrorist, she's getting spotted in New York.
And it's the same as well with.
She's probably in Times. Her face is probably sitting in Times Square.
Exactly. And it's the same with Bartrock to an extent. Like, I understand that when you watch the UFC, like George St. Pierre, I think he fought middleweight, which, when you're watching UFC and there's guys like Brock Lesnar there, you're like, oh, that's not that big. Then you realise he's like, when you fight UFC, you cut weight, so he's probably walking around at like 5'11", 200 pounds of just sheer muscle. So he's also going to stand out a wee bit.
He's a big guy.
He's a big dude. I absolutely love him. But I don't think he's 5'11", I think I pulled out Mars, but anyway, he's still built like a brick shit house. You're going to be like, size of him. Like, I'd noticed GSP in the street. Easy. But yeah, so he walks over.
He is.
Even if I didn't, though.
You'd be like, fucking hell, he's a big guy.
Exactly, that's the thing. I don't watch UFC. I know him because I like playing with him on the games. He was class. But like, I don't know many UFC fighters right now. I know their names, but I couldn't pick them out of a crowd. I couldn't pick them out of a lineup. So like, if I walk past, if I walk past like a UFC fighter right now,
there's like very few, there's like maybe like 10 on actually could put a face to it maximum.
Exactly. But if I walk past anyone in the UFC, you know, I might not be able to go, oh, that's him, but I'd be able to go, fucking look at him. Look at the build of that guy.
You'd be like, fuck.
But he walks over with a briefcase of evil, pretty much. And they talk about the GRC are voting on a controversial, they call it the Patch Act.
Something like that.
Which I think we find out is to put over 30 million people back in their original homes. And when they say refugees, this is one thing for me. I think I'll speak of this at the end, but I feel like there's been a lot that's been cut out of this show for a reason I'll get to. But I think when they talked about refugees being put back to their home, they talked about, you know, refugees and displaced people being put back to their home. The only people that have ever been referred to as refugees so far have been the flag smashers and the people that they're fighting for.
Yeah, the people who survived the blip or survived the snap even, and then were kicked out after everybody came back.
Yeah, and I understand that, you know, from the context of what's going on and what happens next. I understand that it's very clear that they are voting to rehome the people who were blipped. But the only people who have been referred to as refugees so far have been the people who were displaced when everyone came back. But you know, he's coming there to help them disrupt this GRC meeting. Carly does the thing on her phone, which we saw earlier on, where everyone like flocked en masse to the bank. GSP says, "I'm only here to kill the Falcon." She's like, "Don't worry, he'll come." And then that's when Sam is contacted to say that, you know, a lot of Flag Smashers activity was going down on the wee Flag Smashers app, mostly in Europe, but today in New York, massive amount of people, just en masse, are going towards that building. And then we see the building sort of go on a bit of a lockdown. And then finally, last shot of the episode is Sam unlocks this briefcase and lifts it up. And he's got some nice Captain America gear in there. Surely. And that's how the episode ended.
It'll be wings. It'll be wings. It'll be new wings. It'll be vibranium wings. But it'll be a new suit, probably with like the stars and stripes and all.
Yeah, it'll be
wings.
There'll still be wings, I'm sure, but it'll be quite. But before we talk about before I talk about the thing that I was going to say with things that have definitely been cut out, best episode yet. I know every episode we're saying
100%. This is actually getting. This episode's got the most hate out of any of the episodes so far, and I have no idea how. I was gripped from start to finish.
That's not real. It's been the best episode.
But genuinely, I've seen more discourse on like socials about this episode than any previous one, and get a grip, people. This was cinema.
Yeah, this was amazing.
Gorgeous.
You know, I know people like to say, "Oh, how good can," you know? There's all those people that are like, "Oh, how good can a superhero thing really be?" Well, when you look at the stuff this episode looked at, the treatment of veterans to racial inequality, to like all of this in the US,
to the refugee crisis, to like everything.
Yeah, like this is so like. I mean, you know, this is the kind of social commentary
poverty as well.
Exactly. This level of social commentary, you know, you could expect from any serious Oscar bait film that's just rocked up in the middle of a dumb Marvel show.
Falcon in the Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
exactly.
And like I said, all these things have been like built up bit by bit, but we've never had one episode that just continues to kick us while we're down.
And then we got this one.
Yeah.
Oh, despite it being the most intense part of the episode, the first 7 minutes for that fight was probably the calmest I've been in that whole episode.
Yeah.
Because the rest I was just like, fuck it.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know. I can't really speak to the true power of that episode being a white guy from Scotland. You know, I can't speak to that. But still, you know, if that's getting me that choked up, I can only imagine what it must be like for people who can actually sympathise with, you know, the shit that they're saying.
Exactly.
But have you read the theory about because this was filmed majority of this was filmed and in the can before the world went on fire.
Yeah.
Have you read the thing about the outbreak theory?
No.
So, when we first see the Flag Smashers, they are stealing vaccines for something, right? And they kind of they kind of talk a little bit in episode 2 about like vaccine equity and who should get it, and they're just like, "Fuck it, we need these vaccines." But then we find out that Mamadonia is dying of TB, which is very treatable. There's a it's the 21st century, so it's not like 1800s.
I think there's like one. I think there's like one case of TB a year now or something.
And a lot of people are thinking the Flag Smashers' big thing they got up on their soapbox about was there was a sickness that broke out in these refugee camps when everyone came back, and it's got into the population, and the people who are being rehoused and replaced and like put back in where they were, they're the ones being given the first shot of this vaccine to cure it. And then the pandemic started, the world shut down, and Disney decided to retroactively edit the narrative around it so as to make it seem like less of a hot topic issue, which I think is true, because some of those Flag Smasher scenes seem very disjointed at times. And I was going to say there with Carly just deciding, on how they never have referred to anyone else as the refugees but them, I think with everything that went on, they've like went back and re-edited some of the episodes. There was a very good...
That's very plausible. But at the same time, like, if people have been gone for 5 years and they come back, they're going to be exceptionally susceptible to the flu. If they've went 5 years without experiencing any flu virus and it's mutated in 5 years, they'd need the vaccine.
Suppose.
So,
but I don't even know if it was going to be like a flu thing. It could just be, a Marvel pandemic, but then a real pandemic happened in real life, and Disney made the call to...
And they were like, that may not be a good idea.
To edit around it, yeah. Because there was a very good Nando V Movies video about that, and I think some of like the earliest reports talked about something along those lines, and then we get to it, and it's just like, oh, she's got this thing that doesn't happen anymore, and now she's dead. So I'm curious to see. I'd be curious to find out. I'd be curious to see if we ever do get any confirmation on if that is the case. But I feel like some of the Flag Smashers' motivations have been... I do think there are missing scenes around them sometimes, and I think it was never as present as this episode.
I don't know if it's just because the episode limit and they had to like cut a lot of stuff out, or obviously this is a very plausible like theory for it, because if this is people's like comfort and escape during a fucking pandemic, they don't want to watch something about a pandemic. Yeah,
I mean, especially when this is already dealing with racism, the refugee crisis, poverty, the treatment of veterans. You don't also want to remind them of another real world issue.
It may have been a bit too much, yeah.
Yeah. And like, I mean, the show works the same. I mean, that's the thing as well. If we're looking at that, like pandemic, the show works the same without it. The show does not work the same without the racism, without the poverty, without like the refugee crisis. Yeah. The show's like very dependent on those things. But yeah, there's, like I said, there's very, very good Nando V Movies video that like sort of went into it, and I think I hadn't really noticed. I'd like, obviously there's probably like a scene or two missing here or there, but I hadn't really noticed how disjointed the Flag Smashers are from scene to scene till this episode. And I understand that, there has been a big change to when we last saw them in this episode with like Walker beheading your man for no reason. But, I feel like a little bit more explanation, because I feel like Carly has just, she was radicalized, and then she was like...
It's as if she's just snapped almost, but there's no...
We've not
no scene that kind of shows it.
We've not been shown it, and we've also not been shown enough to not be shown it, you know what I mean? Like if we see like a bunch of things, a bunch of different things happening to Carly going wrong, and then she's just bang, she's done. But there's not been enough things that we've seen happen to her to see her.
Like a couple episodes ago, when she was so like chill, and like she was talking to Sam, they were just talking completely normally, and then like, okay, our pal dies at the airport trying to let them escape or whatever. I think that was even the episode before she met with Sam. And then she meets with Sam, Walker comes in, whatever. She meets with Sam again with Bucky and stuff, and then she decides, okay, I'm not a fan of this, I'm going to try and like get out of here. And then she sees Walker behead your man. Again, I can understand it, but all we had after the man was killed was literally a scene of her just standing there like.
See, that's it.
And it's like, okay, that shows us a lot what was going on in her psyche.
The thing is, I mean, you know, the golden rule in, you know, filmmaking is show, don't tell. Show us Carly getting there whilst everyone else around her is sort of going like, is she all right? Or show us a lot more things happening to Carly that when she is like this, it doesn't surprise us. Because when she blew up that van, that no one expected that because we hadn't seen anything really. Yeah. And now, you know, this doesn't really feel strange purely because it's the second last episode. But if this was say this was 10 episodes and we are on episode 5 out of 10 and this happened at the midpoint, everyone will go, wait a minute, we need more explanation for why this has just happened. I feel like a lot of people are just accepting it because it's the last episode, we're building to a big final fight. But yeah, it's my ramblings for now.
It'd be good to see her character explored more.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to see her pop back up in future projects if there is a natural way to get her back in.
Because she's not a bad person, and obviously she is a super soldier, so they could bring her back in some role, I don't know.
Yeah, but I'd like to see her back.
Because even the guy, your man said something as well. Your man was like, I never thought anybody should be Captain America. I didn't think that was a thing until I met you. And I was like, how can you build this person up to be this like idol to these people and then like kill her off or something? Nah.
And that's it as well. Like, you know, there was that one line from a few weeks ago, maybe last week, where Sam says, you know, she's bringing food and medicine to sick people. I don't, you know, these people aren't going to give her up easy. For her just to go, right, well, let's kill the government.
Yeah.
So I find it odd, but I mean, still a very good episode. That's like my one small gripe with this episode. So what's our finale predictions then? What are you saying?
Sam and Bucky are going to show up, talk them down. They're actually going to like talk them down. We'll see Sam in his full outfit, and it'll look Benissimo. And then Walker's going to show up in like a hoodie, and he's just going to wreck stuff. He's just going to start killing. Like he's just not going to give a shit. He's just going to be like, okay, I'm here now. People are going to die. Yeah. And then Carly, Bucky, and Sam are going to have to team up to stop Walker. And I could maybe, if they kill Carly, it's going to be in that fight. But I don't know. That's my predictions.
Yeah.
And then Sam, the American government probably won't be like, oh, Sam Wilson is the new Captain America, but it'll be like a pure Rocky thing where like he didn't win the fight, but everybody loves him. Everybody's like, he is our man.
I have a similar theory to that. But it's pretty much just adding another thing on. So it's almost the exact same. But obviously, Bartrock is there and he wants to kill Sam. I think Sam's going to talk Carly off the ledge, get her back to being normal, and then we're going to get a super soldier fight between Bartrock and Carly. I would fucking love that.
Bartrock's not a super soldier, but...
No, but like...
He's just a guy.
No, but you know what I mean? Like,
I suppose, yeah, he's got skills in.
She's gonna like stand up for Sam, and he's like, okay, well, right, okay, then super soldier versus mercenary, pretty much. He's just like throwing knives at her and shit, and she's like catching them out of midair because she's nuts.
That would be very fun.
Yeah, and
I want like a one shot. I want like a 1-shot 10-minute scene of just JSP fighting somebody.
Yeah, because I mean, listen, we got that one shot in Daredevil, and that was great. Now we've got an actual fighter.
Exactly. You've got somebody who can actually do the shit.
Who's made millions for like kicking people in the head real hard. So give us it. I'd love it. So, I mean, we'll obviously be getting the closure on the power broker, and it's probably going to be Sharon. I would like it to not be. As we said last week, I would like it to be a totally new character, a totally original character. And like, you know, they could just do a thing where they bring in like an actor that's not been hinted at. They could just be like, oh, guess what? Why did Helen Mirren come to mind? Why is Helen Mirren the only person in my mind right now? Here's Helen. It would be great. It would be class.
I'd dig that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just randomly, like Helen Mirren walks into shot and is like, "That's Power Broker, by the way," and then like with no like teasing of it, I would love that.
It would be good.
I would enjoy that. And I guess my final question for this week is, what do you want to see out of it? Where do you want to see this taking all the characters going forward, both within the episode and then within the wider context of the MCU?
I want Carly to end up like, I don't know, doing something with the government to help all the people rather than just fighting. I want Sam to be Captain America. I want Walker to be 6 feet under, or like in a cell, that'll do. I want Bucky to be finally like at peace with himself, to be redeemed and whatever. And then if he wants to retire, let him retire. I'm fine with that. As much as I love Sebastian Stan, as much as I love the character, this would be a good end point for him.
Because
I could see them obviously just like changing them into like White Wolf or whatever and keeping
that's it. I do think, I don't think he's going to retire after this. I think they might try and get a White Wolf movie, and then he just rides off into the sunset.
I could see that, yeah.
One last stand against. I was going to say Walker, but Walker's like tied to them both. I don't know, like one.
Well, I suppose if your Lady Hydra's in it, there's his motivation.
Actually, yeah. He comes up, just takes out Madam Hydra and all of her goons, cuts her out at the knees, and then just retires. So we get a one White Wolf movie. But no, I think going forward, there's not much left for Bucky. I think there's a lot more left for Sam, especially after the way this has gone.
Yeah.
I think as we said going into this, we both thought going into this, both of them could front a movie, but we didn't think Marvel had the confidence in them. And I kind of thought they were both on their last legs. But looking at this, it's very clear they have a lot of confidence in Anthony Mackie going forward and might make him one of the pillars.
Yeah.
And I think,
which is surprising, to be honest, that they're making, like, because Anthony Mackie's he's what, mid-40s now? Like, he's not going to be able to do the stunts and stuff in 10 years. And if that's what...
Well, we saw he was definitely not doing his own stunts. Oh, he's 42, so he's still...
Well, that's true.
In wrestling age, in wrestling terms, that's the beginning of his prime.
That's middle age.
In wrestling, that's like 24, so...
But I'm very excited to see Sam going forward, actually.
Yeah, I think...
Like, I didn't even rate Sam that much. I didn't rate Sam like that highly at all before this. I was like, yeah, he's there. He's a good character. But to me, he just kind of felt tacked on about like Rhodey. Like, Rhodey was there, but he was never the focus.
For me, Sam's charm, much like with Rhodey, comes before this came from Anthony Mackie. The same way that Rhodey's charm, to me, comes, entirely from Don Cheadle at this point. And I think any other actor would have made Sam just totally fade into the background when that was not clearly his point. He also had a big role in so many films, but a big thing for him.
He was always the sidekick.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of scenes in all of the movies where he stands out and he is like the star of that scene, but that's on Anthony Mackie and not on the writing.
100%, yeah. I feel like this is the first time he's actually got writing worth the character, almost.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I'm very excited to see where they go forward with him. But I also don't think they should, I don't think a trilogy is enough, or should be enough, or should be what they go for. I think we've got this to serve as a sort of mini movie, get a White Wolf and a Falcon movie, and then have White Wolf retire in that movie, and maybe have Falcon retire in like Avengers 5 or whatever.
I could almost see them keep Anthony Mackie around, like even after he retired, in like a Fury type role. Yeah, because that's like that happened a lot in comics, where whenever Steve was like he was too old to keep fighting or whatever, but considering he was a super soldier, he still had like 40 years of life despite being a decrepit old man. So he'd stepped into that like advisor director role.
Yeah, I'd like to see him keep doing that. Especially when you think
that with Anthony Mackie, though.
Especially because of like how good his relationship is with everyone in real life.
Yeah.
I mean, going forward, the obvious tentpole is Spider-Man, is Tom Holland, and he's got such a good relationship with Tom in real life. I would like to see, down the line something with them. But I think whatever they do, as we keep saying, since they've come back with TV shows, everything they do just proves that any time we've been a bit scared of something that the MCU's doing, they know what they're doing. Every time it looks like
recently,
yeah. I mean, since obviously there was a few stumbles
after Endgame, they just haven't missed. They just have not missed, which makes me very excited for everything that's coming out now.
I mean, when was the time they missed before Endgame?
Endgame.
I mean,
Endgame's good. Endgame's good, but it ruins like 3 characters. So,
as a standalone movie, it's one of those things. I tried to watch it.
It's a bit now.
Because I watched Infinity War. I was going to watch them both back to back, and then I watched Infinity War one night, and I was like, right, I'm going to bed. And I watched it in the morning. I was like, man, this fucking sucks. And then I watched them back to back, and I was like, oh wait, no, it's good.
It's just fan service. That's all it is, man.
Yeah, man.
90% of the movie is just references and fan service. I mean, I love it. I love it to bits. It's a great movie. I'll watch it, but
it fucking sucks a standalone.
It ruins Steve's character, man.
Does it?
Yes.
Explain. Show me your
He knew this woman for 2 weeks. He knew this woman for literally like a month. Like, as a man who is down bad, I can understand, but like, jeez, dude.
Aye, no, but back then people just got married after 2 weeks and lived happily ever after.
Well, but that's also because the husbands beat their wives. But
are you implying that Steve Rogers went? I mean, he is Captain America.
I don't think Steve.
You think he was going back? You think he was going back to throw some hands at Peggy?
Nah. The thing is, right? Okay. Peggy got married and had kids, so he's just fucked them off. He's just like, yeah, I don't care.
True.
They're gone.
True. Unless he was a bit in the side,
and she was happy with it, and then he just decided, actually, I'm gonna just go ruin that because I'm sad. But he's tried to. The man's whole thing is he goes from fight to fight to fight to fight to fight.
But he's tried to find love in the 21st century. He's tried it. He's no good at it. There's that whole bit at the start of Winter Soldier when Natasha's like, why don't you go on a date with her? And he's like, what are we have to talk about? I was in a barber shop.
You kissed Sharon.
Aye, and then he was like, actually, no, I think about it.
Your granny.
Aye, exactly. He was like, now that I think about it, your granny was hotter than you, so see you later.
I mean, Hayley Atwell. I'd go back in time for Hayley Atwell. I know, but like,
I'd go anywhere in time for Hayley Williams. Only Hayley Williams, anywhere in time.
But your man, I don't know. I didn't sit right with me. He shouldn't. Like,
Suppose. But I was going to say, I don't think the MCU's missed in a while. But now they're just like strength to strength to strength.
I'm so excited for Loki now, man.
Oh yeah, like as well, like there was that TV had its moment a few years ago, and people were calling it like the next cinema, and it had like it was showing like if you give us more time to tell these stories, we can obviously do a lot more. And I mean, these have been some of the best things they've put out. Full stop.
100%. Like WandaVision's in my top 10 of like Marvel projects.
Oh yeah.
So this probably is now as well.
Yeah.
It's mad.
Yeah, I'd say so. So I guess we'll end it there. Another long chat, long-winded silliness. No silly outro either, because my back is still too sore to lean into the mic. I'm an old man. Thanks so much for watching. We will be back soon with the finale coverage, and then after that, how long do we have to wait till Loki?
I think is it 2-3 weeks? It starts in actually no, it's like a full month, I think.
Okay, so then we've got a month of fucking fantasy castings and talking shite.
You need to watch Invincible. Man. It's so good.
I do.
We can talk about
that. But we'll have just Invincible stuff, fantasy casting stuff, just lots of stuff on here.
And the way for DC fan cast,
what you saying?
We still need to do our DC fan cast, don't we?
Yeah. So we'll do that. Would you want to record that through the week at some point then? And we'll put that out either just before or just after the next episode?
Could do.
Right, then on. Well,
or maybe we should save that for when we have no content. But we'll see.
Fuck it.
We'll see.
We'll do that. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.